This is the 2022 Audi e-tron GT. We're here to find out if Audi has really set the benchmark for this luxury electric sports car package here. We brought our Audi expert here, Nelson Mason. Welcome to the channel, Nelson.
Thank you, Chris. Hi guys, Nelson Mason here, Audi Sports Specialist for Audi Niagara. And today we're gonna jump into the 2022 Audi e-tron GT.
Comment below what you think. Is this comparable to our Porsche Taycan, our Tesla Model S? Watch the video and make your own decision and tell us what you think.
So this here being the flagship Audi sport car right now, the e-tron GT, it's crazy advanced. It has every advancement that we can possibly think of, to be fair. Matrix, LED, laser headlights, the whole safety technology system being our radar and sonar, all encapsulated right here in what looks like a mini fog light right down below. No grille, obviously, being electric, but we do have these massive ducts all the way across the front. That's for our braking system. That's for our cooling system. That's bringing everything in. Cooling system is something that we will talk about. One thing that's really, really well engineered on this car, where it does supersede, let's say, its competitors in that department.
Such a sexy side profile here, especially now that we've lowered it and with all the tinting windows. Tell us a bit about what's going on here.
Yeah, Audi brought in a lot of that Quattro heritage, that rally sport racing heritage. So we see the flared, bold fenders. We see the air escape for the heat coming off of the brakes. The sculpting comes all the way back, so we really see just how tough and muscular it is. That's to give it this wide stance. It's a wide car. That's where a lot of the performance comes from, and it's really just sculpting in that heritage, sculpting in that performance, and form follows function. We have the escapes for the hot air, we have the air flowing back, and we have it being extremely aerodynamic.
Yeah, and I really love these 20-inch Pirelli tires here with like the two-tone rims. Those are super nice. We didn't see those on the last one, the RS7 we filmed.
Yeah, so a lot of variations in rims, of course, with a car of this caliper. So you can go from the 19-inch to a 21-inch, whatever you prefer. And then even into the e-tron RS GT, which is another step above it, then you get even more aggressive rims.
So obviously when we pop the hood, you know, being an electric car, you get this little frunk here, which you can fit, what is there, about 2-3 cubic feet of storage back there. But tell us a bit about the Powerplant and what's going on here.
Yeah, so with the e-tron GT, we have a overboost function that allows it up to 522 horsepower.
Damn.
If we're comparing horsepower with the electric. With the e-tron GT RS, the RS GT, then you can have up to 637 horsepower, and it's a different animal again. But really, the sole focus is A, yes, we want the performance, B, we want the efficiency. And there's a very interesting architecture with the power here. It's an 800 volt architecture. To put that into perspective, most electric vehicles are using a 400 volt power architecture. So interesting thing, it allows it to be lighter, allows it to cool better, allows it for, you know, when we're doing those 0 to 60 runs, we can do them all day long. We've got no limitation. Yeah, so here we can see the sculpting comes right to the back. So we have those flared fenders coming all the way back, carrying on that taillight design that we saw in the RS7. So a long beam straight across, really just stretching out the width and girth of this car. But, and we still have the rear diffuser bringing the air from underneath the car. So all of that kind of encompasses here at the back. We don't need any sort of tailpipe or exhaust outlets. But then we come into the trunk area here, power trunk.
Yeah, nice power trunk.
And then you do have decent room in it, which again, it's kind of the Audi thing. You're trying to realistically have form follow function. One of the big issues with electric cars is actually trying to reduce that carbon footprint. And yes, we're reducing that carbon footprint when we're driving it. We're not using fossil fuels. That's all well and good. But when the factories are using fossil fuels and everything to develop this car is using fossil fuels, then we have a bit of an issue. It's really about trying to make the whole package green. That's something that Audi's had a huge driving force in doing. this being the first car to be produced fully carbon neutral. So when we say fully carbon neutral, everything, all of the suppliers, Audi's had to go and source new suppliers for a lot of their parts that are, let's say, made at different factories, so that those are produced in carbon neutral plants. This car is produced in a carbon neutral plant. So the whole vehicle itself is carbon neutral, going to a net zero green world.
The whole production of it.
The whole production.
Awesome.
And then from a charging standpoint, I mean, this uses 150 kilowatt chargers, charging ports on both sides, which makes it nice, extremely accessible. Does allow for higher grade charging if we had the infrastructure in Canada to allow that. But right now, 150 kilowatts is kind of our max where we're at.
How long do you think the estimate it takes to charge?
Estimate is somewhere around 22 and a half to 30 minutes. That would be realistically from a 5% to 80% charge. That's really how they gauge them now, just because the last 20% is when you're trying to jam electrons into a very small space.
Yeah, the seats are super nice. Like, I feel the bolsters in my back here all suede along the wheel. I love the wheel. All the interior nicely laid out here. What is this, Alcantara?
So you bring up a very good point, because what Audi's done is developed a vegan suede.
Suede.
A vegan leather, so it's a Dynamica leather, and that is allowing it to just go forward with the, with the green-friendly technology. So these seats and this material is all developed by fashion designer Stella McCartney, who is a vegan fashion designer, and so that's what all of these materials have brought in as, just to help the environmental footprint that much more.
Yeah. So now, as I'm driving, like, we just came to a stop there. Like, it has the regenerative braking, so I'm not always using my battery. Mostly when I'm braking, and the brakes will last a lot longer. You were saying, like, here we're coming to a red light here.
So this car will brake up to 0.6 G, so that's realistically the rate that some cars accelerate. That's how this car will decelerate, purely on the batteries. So purely charging up those batteries. So we're rarely using the steel brakes themselves, and that allows the brakes to last longer, gives us more charge as well, and gives us more range. So this interior, you can feel, is really designed as a cockpit. So as Audi really likes to make it driver focused, right? Centrally focused on the driver. So you can feel that you're genuinely in a cockpit.
Yeah, I definitely feel so much lower. I love the two gauges in front here. Everything's so digital. I got my nav right in front. And then I have the larger Audi MMI that we went into detail on the other video. So we're not going to get into that today, because it's pretty much the same. But the Audi MMI is phenomenal. Everything down here with our digital climate controls, that's pretty basic stuff. So the range, it's showing us right now about 279 kilometers left on our charge, and we were pretty much almost full when we took off. Now it's at about 65%, 279. So it's got a pretty long range compared to like all the other electric vehicles. But like, Audi hasn't really told you the definitive.
Yeah, the range on paper should be about 385. We expect to see a bit further than that. Audi is always very conservative with their ranges. So real world range versus the range that they quote are usually two different things. But 385 should be your estimated EPA range, which is great for a performance car like this.
Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard. I noticed you got the wireless Apple CarPlay right now. That's what everybody wants to know. It's a question I get asked the most, if it has those apps. So wireless Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto. Still no wireless Android Auto yet, but it looks phenomenal on this screen.
Yeah, it's really nice, great system, super smooth how it works. You can see that the nice thing with it being electric is we would have all of our electric apps as well. So we have Plug Share, we have Charge Hub, so we can check out all of these and see what our closest charging points are going to be. So that's really where the car can make it so much easier to navigate through our day-to-day. We're not really range anxiety or anything like that, because it's telling us all the great spots that we can go to charge up.
Let's see how it takes a couple of these curves.
So you're gonna feel two things kind of working in play, and what I'm going to do is switch to dynamic mode for our air suspension system. So fully adaptive suspension, fully adaptive throttle response and everything else. But we'll feel our sport differential, which is actually, it allows us to transfer more power to the rear wheels. Not a true differential, of course, with this electric 2-speed transmission. But what we also have is 4-wheel steering that's going to realistically allow this car to adapt to these corners better than anything you've experienced before. I'm gonna shut up and let you take over from
Yeah,
there.
it definitely feels phenomenal. Accelerating is like nothing. Like when you put your foot down, especially for the electric car, you barely notice. Like I'm going 125 right now, and it feels like we're going 60. Like definitely very impressed with how it went up those hills. We just went up the Niagara Escarpment there a little bit, and it just had no problem pushing forward. And it just keeps pulling you. Look at that. The second you put your foot down, it just wants to pull you forward. You can probably talk more about the mechanics of it, but certainly feels like crazy amount of confidence taking these turns at high speeds on the road here, and then braking. Like, look, quick stop, and you don't get that like falling forward feeling that you would get when you're stopping fast like that. So we're on some back roads now. Let's give it a quick little launch and see how it takes off here. So just gonna step on it a little bit. Now it's ready. And there we go. What was it, 3.2 seconds?
This thing
That's
launched,
100 there.
This thing
Wow.
launches extremely hard. This is going to be slower than the RS GT, which is just another level. But yeah, 3.2 seconds.
I couldn't even finish what I was saying to you, and it was already up to 100.
It's cool how the transmission actually works in, because usually electric vehicles have no transmission. So this allows it to hook up nicely. With the electric, we're not going to get wheel spin because it's so far advanced with how it can accelerate.
In terms of space, like I feel comfortable in here with me and you sitting back there. We got our guys in the back there. How is it compared to the other competitors in terms of cabin size and space?
Yeah, so one, I would say, issue with the Taycan is it's a pretty small car. And even though it's a 4-door, it's pretty tight, especially for headroom and legroom. This Audi has upsized the car a little bit, increased the, let's say, the living space inside here, made it a much more comfortable car, and that was really the driving force behind it. They wanted to make it an Audi. It's not a rebadged Porsche by any stretch of the imagination. So they made it their way, and that's what's impressive. Super comfortable. Comfortable from the passenger side, comfortable in the rear as well. It's a full-size sedan, right? But it's just, it's kind of like a race car as well.
Yeah, and then like our Tesla Model S starts at like 113. What's our kind of like our MSRP on this one here?
So this one starts at 129. Then when we move into the performance division of the RS, then that's going to start at 179. The difference there is that would be more in comparison to like the Tesla Model S Plaid, which is up there again. But the biggest thing with the Audi scope is the nice day-to-day driving, the actual nice refinement of it all. It's a quiet car inside. It feels luxurious. It feels like the price that you're paying for it. So it's performance and luxury combined. It's not just one thing or the other.
So that pretty much sums it up, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to Cars Unlocked if you're new here. Special thanks again, Nelson. Thank you so much. We're going to put your link, Audi Niagara, in the description below. And thank you so much. If you guys have any questions, make sure you contact Nelson.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be here as always. And hope you guys enjoyed the 2022 e-tron GT.